Hello everybody, welcome to this week's Star Watch astrology reading. My name is Jane. For those of you who are new, welcome. We're super happy to have you here. It's going to be an interesting week. We have this Venus-Pluto conjunction happening, Venus slowing way down for her retrograde, which is beginning on the 19th. So we have some very interesting dynamics. I'm super happy to talk to you about it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. So we are starting the week, Wednesday, December 8th, Mercury Day. And let's take a little snapshot of what we have going on right now, December 8th. Now, Mars is building up to his transition into Sagittarius. Okay, Mercury is also going to be transitioning into Capricorn. That's happening on the 13th. As it stands, Venus right now at 24 degrees is at the degree that Mercury enters his shadow phase for his January Mercury retrograde. Mercury is absolutely going to be involved in this Venus-Pluto conjunction, Venus retrograde situation. Not to mention that this conjunction is happening in the Mercurial Decan or the Virgo Decan of Capricorn. Okay, so Mercury is coming in and he's going to be a little bit more of a prominent player than he has been. Being in detriment for the past few weeks, I feel like there has been something in terms of the way our minds are working. Now I'll be like the first to admit this transit did not necessarily manifest in the way that I thought it would manifest. For a lot of people, it has been very difficult to really communicate what you're really even thinking and to be able to truly locate the source of why you're thinking what you're thinking. Sagittarius is so high level. It wants to operate in the more philosophical realm, whereas Mercury wants to pull it down and make connections and dig deep and analyze things. And of course he's in detriment. So he's not truly in his optimal sphere here. Now there's a lot of benefits to a Mercury through Sag, but I don't know that they really met up, like the Mercury and the Jupiterian nature of Sag. I don't think they met in the middle very well for a lot of us. And it was may have felt like a little bit of a push-pull, because there was the philosophical side of things over here, and that's all very well and good, and there was a whole bunch of, faith and understanding. But then when we pulled it down to a mundane day-to-day micro scale level, it was but all this stuff is kind of, we're not really moving very smoothly, or I'm not really figuring it out. I don't really know how. And there's a lot of frustration on that mercurial level. Now, when Mercury enters into Capricorn, he's going to have a little bit more, a better grip on things. I actually really like a Mercury through Capricorn for a lot of reasons, because Mercury gives the structure and the self-confidence, Capricorn gives Mercury the structure and self-confidence to be able to communicate in productive and efficient and effective ways. It is a highly productive mercurial placement, meaning things can get done very, very quickly. It's not all up in the clouds, and it's not immutable fashion with Sagittarius kind of going left, down, upright, and all around. It's more linear, being in a cardinal sign. Now, the same day, Mars enters into Sag. Now, when Mars enters into Sagittarius, now it's already building up to this conjunction with the South Node. Now, remember a few weeks ago when I told you, pay attention to how it feels a few days after the eclipse as the sun is coming over the South Node. This was after the full moon eclipse in Taurus. A few days after, how did the coming off of that really feel? Hopefully you paid attention. Hopefully you journaled. Hopefully you made a mental note of some kind, because Mars is going to be dragging over the South Node as well. And the South Node can feel we all have our own unique experiences of that. So I don't want to project what that's going to be for you, but I suspect it will be a mirror of what happened a few weeks ago as well. So if you do feel a little hyper emotional, or if you do feel a little more forced, surrendered, right? Like the universe is forcing you to surrender a little bit. Like if you're feeling a little out of control, that's a very South Node way of being. Okay. So you just have to kind of breathe through that and acknowledge what's happening, and understand that once Mars begins to separate on the other side of the South Node and moves more fully in through Sag, then things are going to start, like, I don't know. I like Mars through Sag because it's a fire energy. Mars is a very fiery planet, obviously. And he's more capable to like run, where I feel in Scorpio, Mars is condensed and forced to go underground, which Mars will go wherever he is told to go, and that's fine. If he needs to go to the underworld and do some work, he'll do it. But in Sagittarius, he can run free a little bit, and I feel like you will feel more capable and more able to run free. Now, once Mars comes over the South Node, though, if you take note, let me actually just fast forward the clock a little bit to the 13th. Okay, there. Actually, the 16th. This is technically getting into next week, but just to illustrate the point, we have Mars on the other side here, and you can see how all the planets are now on one half or one side of the nodes. You see the nodes here and all the other planets here. Now, this is what's called the Kala Sarpa Yoga, and it really, really throws a lot of things out of whack. Okay, now I'm not trying to scare you or be a doomsdayer by any stretch of the imagination, but it's important to note that, globally, economically, politically, there could definitely be some weird stuff that comes up. Not to mention that Venus is basically stopped in the sky. Basically, she doesn't do her retrograde until the 19th, but she's really, really, really slow right here. And Pluto is involved here as well. Plus, we still have Saturn in his square, very tight square, 10 degrees versus 11 degrees with Uranus. So, Uranus is kind of like this secret player in everything and will continue to be a player in everything while the nodes come through Taurus and Scorpio next year and through 2023. Next year, we actually have an eclipse exactly on Uranus in Taurus, and it's going to be a very intense eclipse cycle. I think that's next. Hold on, I have it right here actually. I think it's in the full moon. Yeah, the full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Taurus is going to be exactly conjunct Uranus next year in November. So Uranus is absolutely a main player and is going to get more and more and more prominent with things. And this is kind of enabling all of this stuff over here, is kind of enabling, or maybe not enabling is not the right word, but facilitating or catalyzing certain changes. Now, I think a lot of us on an individual scale are absolutely experiencing significant changes for ourselves. Whether it's just our own, internal sense of what we want out of life, whether it's, insights that we're gaining about a certain relationship in our life, whether it's about, a hobby or a passion coming to the forefront of our lives. And whatever it is, this is a true opportunity to allow yourself to be uncomfortable for the sake of the rebirth. All right. If you can consciously go through a rebirth and feel all the things that you're supposed to feel, and not judge it and not try to make it anything other than what it is, that makes you an incredibly powerful person. Okay, this Kala Sarpa Yoga is going to be something else. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens over the next 6 months or so. Let's go back though. Let's go back to today. And we are still building up to this full moon in Gemini, which is actually happening in the Uranian quadrant of Gemini as well. So this is going to be highly an agitated, especially if you don't have a lot of Gemini in your chart or a lot of Aquarius in your chart. This will be an agitated, high energy type of full moon, which is happening on the 18th. Okay, so that's not till next week either. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry about that. But I don't know that this week there's anything super exciting happening or super huge that's happening other than Mars and Mercury changing signs. We will feel that shift. Give us a couple of days, or give yourself a couple of days to adjust. Let Mars move over that south node. And then I think you'll start feeling the energy really coming back. Now, here's Venus and here is Pluto, right? In the latter degrees of Capricorn, in the Mercury Decan. Like I said, Mercury is going to be highly involved. He's a major player in this Venus retrograde. Venus practically on top of Pluto as of today, 24 degrees, 25 degrees. Venus over the next, few days, just dragging. And she's asking us, she's asking us to go deep, but she is also asking us to be truthful and asking us to shed ourselves or to rid ourselves of any and all of the superficialities, all of the things that we think we're supposed to do, or the things that we think we're supposed to value, or we think we're supposed to care about. She's asking us to just quit it. Just stop. Just stop doing those things. Stop putting yourself in those situations where you are working for something and dedicating time in your life to something that isn't really speaking to your soul. She is a materialistic planet. So money, definitely. Love, sex, yes, absolutely. All these beautiful things with Venus. But we also know that many of those things come from deep-rooted and deep-seated feelings of self-worth. And I think we are redefining self-worth at this time. Now, even though technically this is not like a natal chart, okay, this is a sunrise chart. So every day we take a snapshot of the sky when the sun is officially on the ascendant. So right here. And so given that quality, we do actually have this happening in the second house, right? House away from where the sun is. So the second house is a self-worth house. And when we go deep, and we start to realize that what our value has nothing to do with what we do. It doesn't even really have anything to do with what we create. It's not what we provide. It's just simply in who we are. And this is that moment where the wisdom, right? The wisdom of your life, the wisdom from your life experiences, the wisdom from your pain is transmuted, very Plutonic, right? Plutonically, it is transmuted into something of self-worth or associated with self-worth or to build self-worth. And there is no externalization of self-worth at this point. It's not about your financial situation. It's not about your career trajectory. It's not about your achievements or your accolades. It's not about all the books you've written. It's not about your trophy cases. It's about the essence of you. And I think this is a beautiful moment to really meditate on that and to drop all the stories that you've been telling yourself. Because we know that what makes a goddess like Venus it has nothing to do with her family members or her anything, right? It's just the energy that she has when she walks into a room. It's her knowingness of her ancestral lineage, right? It's her knowingness of her divinity, which we all have. And I feel that this is a time when you really sit with that, when you really meditate on that, when you really fall in to that way of thinking, your entire life can change. And what better time to catalyze life changes than when we are in a Kala Sarpa Yoga? When we think about 2020, how many of your lives changed? A lot of people's lives changed, right? We realized, well, maybe you don't have to go into the office every day. That's weird. Now all of a sudden you don't have to go in. Like, you can actually be more productive, maybe, right? You can be more engaged, and you can work fewer hours and get more done by not going into the office every day, right? But there are significant changes on the docket for us. The world is changing. We see that with, the financial world and the technological world especially. But as Saturn makes his way through Pisces, I went through all of the transits for next year to kind of like really prepare myself for 2022, because I wanted to do a 2022 annual thing for everybody. And one of the months that really stood out was April of 2022, because we've got Jupiter through Pisces, we've got Neptune in Pisces, which these are the two rulers of Pisces, and we're going to have Venus in Pisces, and Venus is exalted in Pisces. And this month, April, is going to set a tone of such high level and incredible heights of euphoria and hope and optimism that I really think that 1 month condensed is going to bring about so much evolution in the years to come. That this is a month of culmination, a month that we have been craving and wanting, right? Because we've been wanting to believe, we've been wanting to hope, we've been wanting to be truly and divinely inspired in terms of our levels of optimism of what's possible for us. April is going to be the month that just like we come together within ourselves, we see that it is possible, and then when everything hits Aries, then we begin. And it's such a beautiful culmination of planets. Like, I'm almost even getting of course it's Pisces, of course I'm getting emotional. It's like such a beautiful culmination of like a whole new trajectory. And it's that thing that I think that so many people have just been craving. Because here is Uranus over here, all the way at 11 degrees of Taurus. It's been a few years already, and a lot of people are like, wait a second, where are these big changes that were promised with Uranus and Taurus? Like, where are the sudden breaks? And I think that April of 2022 is going to be the beginning of a lot of the sudden breaks. And it's exciting, because Saturn will still be in Uranian ruled Aquarius. And we're going to have, Uranus still over here. We're going to have Pluto coming into the Pluto return, especially for the United States specifically. So there's just a lot of things happening that are indicating significant changes globally and personally, both in terms of our own individual structures and our global structures, that are going to be able to be used as foundations, right? Because when we create these changes, they become foundational for the things that are yet to be built. And this is what 2021 in so many ways was really all about, was allowing yourself the capacity to change, allowing yourself to be open to the idea of change, so that when the moment came for the real changes, then you would be mentally prepared, and it wouldn't feel like a huge shock, right? It wouldn't feel like you were completely out of control. It would feel like, okay, this is right. This is what's supposed to happen. This is the trajectory that I feel is absolutely going to be the best. So don't be surprised if things do get a little off kilter with this Kala Sarpa Yoga, which doesn't break until, oh no, I forgot when it was. Hold on, I'm sorry if oh no, I didn't write it down. Shoot, I can't remember. But I know that it's Mercury. Mercury is, when Mercury comes over here, he's going to be breaking the Kala Sarpa Yoga. Okay, so it's going to be a while that we're going to be in this particular situation. The only planet that, is the moon, but she moves so quickly that we kind of don't count her. We're talking about more of the planets. Okay? We also have Jupiter in a square with Mars this week. And whenever this squaring happens, sometimes I feel like we have two parts of us that want to go in two different directions. And sometimes it can be hard to like pick a lane. So if you are feeling split between certain courses, there's like the obligation stuff that you know you have to do. There's the inner work you know you have to do. There's, you know, the stuff you want to do. You have all these different lanes that you could choose from. And sometimes you can feel split or feel like you're not necessarily giving 100% into any one specific lane, but that's okay. Because I genuinely believe that once Mars comes over the South Node, still in the Jupiter Decan of Sagittarius, there will be that feeling of relief. There will be that feeling of relief, and it will feel a little bit more focused. It won't feel so heavy or so emotional. It will feel more passionate, which I think a lot of us have been craving lately. There's really not a lot other than Mars and Mercury moving into new signs. Just remember that we are in a waxing moon period. That moon is going to be building up to, I think it's the 18th, right? Yep, in the last decan, here's, right, 26 degrees. We'll have that. I'm not going to switch my time scale, but a few hours after where I am now. The sun coming into opposition with the moon over here in Uranian ruled decan of Gemini. The sun is in the sun ruled decan of Sagittarius. So there's kind of, it's almost like sun versus Uranus, sun versus Mercury here. A calling for creativity, a calling for innovation, a calling for invention is going to be, I don't know, it seems like you are going to be having conversations with yourself. Something's got to change, something's got to change, something's got to change. Change being the theme of 2021 and 2022, as is indicated by Saturn through Aquarius. So if you haven't made any changes through 2022 is your year. And it doesn't mean you have to change all your external stuff, right? It doesn't mean you have to move and change your job. It doesn't have to mean that. It just can also mean your internal way of going about doing things and your internal beliefs and your internal motivations. All of those can be on the docket as well. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for being here. Kind of a short week this week, but I hope that you can embrace it. All right, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.